Hey guys, welcome to my channel, Realm of Ori. In this video, we will continue with Volume 13, Prologue, 2 Suspicions. And before we start, this video contains spoilers from the anime and manga series. And by the way guys, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click on the bell icon to get notifications for upcoming videos. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Gadra felt troubled. It was mainly for two things. The first thing that needed no elaboration was the identity of the person attempting to kill him. I'm surprised that I can't even detect his breath. There are very few opponents like this. Though in my heart, I dare not admit it. This was because, if he had guessed correctly, it meant that all of his and Yuki's shenanigans were now in the hands of Emperor Rudra. No, it's possible. After all, His Majesty Rudra has lived longer than me and possesses wisdom and power beyond reason. Even if I had foreseen things coming to this and prepared for it decades ago, it would not be a surprise. However, in this way, now that he had left the Empire, it was a different matter, but it was assumed that Yuki would be in danger. That's what Gadra believed. So, what's next? Should I warn Yuki? Or just leave it alone? That's the problem. The two of them weren't completely unfriendly with one another, and he was personally quite fond of Yuki. But even if Gadra felt that way, he was now on Rimuru's side. That could not be taken lightly. Instead of worrying about that here, there was another option, and that was to explain everything to Rimuru and go to him first. However, if he revealed such uncertainties and he was wrong about everything, Rimuru's trust in him might fall apart. After all, Gadra had betrayed the Empire. If his credibility continued to decline, it would affect Gadra's position in the future. Furthermore, there was a second doubt that messed with Gadra's thoughts. If that man was His Majesty Rudra, no, that's a stupid thing to say. What's more important now is that the person who assassinated me is definitely that guy. If that's the case, Yuki is in danger. If I didn't give a little warning, I would probably have a bad conscience. In that case, I'll report to Lord Rimuru as well. As a result, Gadra decided to put friendship at the forefront. He came to that conclusion and put it into practice immediately. It's me, Yuki. A word of advice to you. Actually, hey, this is so sudden. No way. Just put yourself in my shoes, too. Lord Rimuru may be suspicious of this matter, so I don't have time to discuss it with you here. I will work in my own way, so you two must be careful not to be taken advantage of in secret. After that, Gadra ended his magic communication with Yuki. Then he went forward and reported to Rimuru. The reporting, liaising and negotiating were now done. After such a decisive movements, Gadra deserved to be called an expert in training ministries. So the old man is safe and sound. And the situation is so good that he seems to have run off to join Rimuru's side. Yuki looked out the window and smiled bitterly. It had been raining today, and it was foggy outside the windows. However, Yuki's eyes still accurately caught the suspicious figure that used the rain to hide his tracks. Seeing Yuki like this, the other figure in the room, Kagali, responded. Are you talking about Gadra? That's for sure. Even I, a former demon lord, looked at him and thought that the old man was too cunning to take lightly. So it's better for us to just help each other. Yeah, it is thanks to that old man that we have this status. And he also seems to have brought us quite the favorable information this time. If it was Gadra, he would have brought favorable intelligence from the Jura Tempest Federation. Yuki calculated as such. There is also no mention in Gadra's report, which suggested that the other party may be dead. So Yuki thought about it for a moment, thinking that perhaps he was worrying too much. The immediate issue that must be confronted was the urgent message from Gadra. Oh, yeah, so what did Gadra tell you? He says Masayuki looks exactly like the Emperor Rudra. What? Kagali unintentionally asked back in an unpolished tone as soon as she heard, which made Yuki show a bitter smile. This was because he thought he probably had the same reaction himself when he suddenly heard something like this. It's a mystery, isn't it? On the one hand, I felt like the old man was saying something silly, but on the other hand it didn't feel like a joke at all. However, the Emperor pretending to be Masayuki, it's hard to deny that completely. In retrospect, Masayuki was not called to this world. He had told him, as soon as I looked over, I was here. Yuki originally thought he might be an otherworldly visitor, who came to this world by chance. I can't find any evidence that Masayuki is from the other world. If magic or skills work. He was about to think in a different direction when Yuki's thoughts suddenly stopped. He began to think of something else, and the next thing he knew, he was speaking out. Forget it. It's more important now to keep an eye on our gang. Geez, it's been a long time since we've had such an interesting conversation. Still, what you said is true. I'm always being watched, and I'm a little out of breath. Right? This would put a damper on our plans, and until then it seems necessary to abandon everything else. How can you say that? I mean it literally. If what Gramps says is true, then we can say that we are in a crisis. If Gadra's words were true, it would not be good to send out the hybrid legions that were being laid out against the Dwarven Kingdom. How that will play out in the future? No, before that they'd have to decide who was friend and who was foe. Maybe they'd have to go back and start all over. That's what Yuki was forced to think, so it is. In that case, there's really no time to think about that kid right now. Kagali didn't doubt Yuki's words. If Yuki thought there was danger, then there was no doubt about it. Gadra wanted to see the Emperor, but I heard he was assassinated from behind in that place. Wasn't it Kondo? The person who asked this was Kagali, who then went on to deny it herself. No, who else but Kondo could have killed Gadra, but if it was the 00 number that never shows up, it wouldn't be surprising if there was an unknown genius among them. I think so, too. But there were other reasons why I was surprised. It was Gadra who said that he probably guessed who the prisoner was. The room fell silent at once. Kagali exhaled and stared into Yuki's eyes, questioning him. Does it mean that the other person is someone we also know well? Kagali gestured with her eyes to stop Yuki from talking about him. Still with a bitter smile, Yuki nodded lightly. It's unbelievable, but it is what it is. Of course, it's also possible that the old man thought wrong. But it's not something that can be brought up simply by admitting the wrong person. Kagali opened her eyes wide. Does that mean that the other side is important among partners? The smile on her face disappeared completely. Exactly. Yuki nodded. In contrast to Kagali, Yuki's smile deepened as she replied. So the name of the traitor is...